City won the treble, and we've just won our first game since then. 5-3 away at Yokohama F Marinos over in Tokyo at the Japan National Stadium. That was fun. That was an awful lot of fun, wasn't it? Started off pretty negatively, going 2-0 down, but then City turned it around and the quality shone through in the end. And we've got a lot to talk about from that game. I'm going to initially lay out my pre-season mantra. I'm going to say this every single pre-season game. Pre-season does not really matter. It's win-win. It doesn't matter if you play poorly because there's a billion reasons why you can play poorly and they're all totally legit. But if someone does play well, it's good fun. It's a positive, and you can enjoy it because you can see it as a nice little omen for the season for that individual player. Having said that, we still saw lots of nice little moments. It was a good, fun game, a good workout against a team, by the way, that are actually pretty damn good. Like, Yokohama are obviously the Japanese J-League champions. They play in the City style. They've got high working, intense, skillful wingers, loads of energy, good football, part of the City football group. It was a good challenge for us, and City rose to it quite nicely in my personal opinion. It was obviously quite literally a game of two halves. Hang on, let me bring up the teams. Where are they? We had two halves there. I typed that up over in Notepad. This is the two teams that City played. First half, of course, was Walker Stones, Akanji, Ake, Phillips, McAtee, Kovacic, Palmer, Alvarez, Grealish. Second half, both halves had Ortega in goal, by the way. Second half had Cancelo, Diaz, Laporte, Lewis, Rodri, Silva, who made way for Peroni at one point, Phil Foden, Oscar Bob, Haaland, and Gomez. Loads to talk about, and I'll go through both of those two teams and both of all the players on the pitch and talk about who I thought did particularly well at times. But the overall vibe of that game was just basically, when you see preseason games, the thing that stands out is the defenses are terrible. You can tell that they're not quite sharp enough yet. You can tell that the rhythm hasn't kicked back in. Teams just defend poorly in preseason, hence why you see loads of goals and loads of chances, because mistakes are made because they're not focused. The fitness isn't there. The cohesion isn't there. Defending is the hardest thing to do in football well. I think it is. Like, the best teams that defend really well, like City last year, the ones that win a lot of trophies, especially when you've got goal scorers like City you've got. And I think there's an awful lot of City's football today that showed a bit of rustiness, but that is fine. It's absolutely fine. Of course, City did go in at half-time. What score was it at half-time? Was it 2-0 or was it 3-2? I can't even remember, man. Like, when did the third goal... Oh, it's hard. It was 2-2 at half-time, actually, wasn't it? Yeah, Haaland got the third goal. Half-time, we went in 2-0. We went 2-0 down from some pretty poor defending, if we're being honest. Akanji was ball watching a little bit. There was a little bit of sloppiness. But then we did get back into the game. And when you see these two teams here, look, Ortega, it was totally fine throughout the half. Walker, Stones, Akanji, and Ake, defensively as a unit, they weren't very good. I thought Stones was excellent, by the way. Stones had a cracking game. Like, Stones looks like the best player on the pitch, in my opinion. The best player on the pitch, bar none. Like, seriously, he was a cut above anyone in the first half in that. Like he added that dribbling to his game again, by the way. Like, everyone saw it in the Champions League final when he started to dribble past people. But, like, he did it again. He decided just to dribble through the team constantly. And I was saying the other day on City's preview show, yesterday morning actually, that I think we've only seen the potential of what John Stones is going to do. The potential. Like, I don't think he's actually reached peak John Stones yet. Like, he added dribbling to his game in the Champions League final. He decided in the final that all of a sudden he was going to be able to dribble. So I actually think he's going to develop that again this season. And we saw a bit of that today where he was just getting the ball and powering past their midfield easily. Like, really easily. Like, just, he was too good for that team. And I think we're going to see more of that. He was cut above anyone. I don't think Walker was captain, by the way, in the first half, which was quite nice. Walker was fine. Akanji, Ake. I don't think any of them had great games, but it didn't really matter. Phillips had a relatively mixed bag, if I'm being honest. It wasn't a great game for him. He was kind of bang average. The odd good pass, the odd time where he was caught on the ball a little bit too sloppily. McAtee had some nice moments, some nice little link-up play. Still very kind of average performance from McAtee, but he did have the nice moment where he created a chance for Ake with a head at the back post, a nice little 1-2 with Cole Palmer. Yeah, it was a decent performance, actually. It was a pretty decent performance from McAtee. Still looks like he's kind of easing way into it a little bit. Kovacic looks smart, a decent performance. Not a cracking one, but you can tell he's going to be a Manchester City player. He's technical, he's strong. He looks good. Kovacic. He's it wasn't a great performance for everyone, but you can tell he's going to be a City player that'll adapt nicely. I actually quite liked Cole Palmer in this game. I thought Palmer looks way more at home, as a winger. Like, to me, Cole Palmer is a right winger. He still does occasionally hold onto the ball a bit too much, but he's a winger and he is only young. Young players don't always make the best decisions, but you can tell he's got so much ability, so much potential. Like, he really is such a natural winger. Like, the way he drifts past people on the touchline, it's just really instinctive. Like, he's such a natural dribbler. He was dangerous. He was involved. I want to see Cole Palmer play in the right wing. I think he's just so much more comfortable there. Alvarez got his goal, as he always does, Alvarez. Alvarez is a wonderful footballer. It was a goal that came from Phillips, so we've got to give him the credit, Alvarez. Phillips worked really hard, pressed really nicely, and Alvarez got his tap in. Grealish was pretty quiet, actually. Barely involved, Jack Grealish. But overall, the first half was pretty average. The second half was much more of a Manchester City side. I think it's because of the midfield. It shows how much important that midfield is. Whereas the first half's defence was more like City's. The second half, and even the forward line actually was more like City's in the first half. But the second half was much better because of that midfield. Rodri made the difference there, and Bernardo too. Cancelo actually was good. He was good. He got a beautiful assist for Erling Haaland. The Cancelo situation is a really weird one, isn't it? Like, I have absolutely no problem with Cancelo being around if Guardiola decides it's the right thing to do. I think he must have eaten a bit of humble pie because obviously City did so well without him, and Cancelo was moaning about not being in the team, but City ultimately went on to win a treble. So Guardiola would turn around and say to Cancelo, I was right if you wanted to. And he has to accept that the world does not evolve around him, unfortunately. And I know he loves football, and I know he's emotional and so on, but City are a quality side, and Cancelo is a quality footballer, but he can't moan like that if he wants to be involved. And, like, I hope he stays around, and I hope he looks at himself in the mirror, forces his way back into the team with his ability, you know, because he's got it. Guys, please do hit the like button, by the way. 200 odd people watching, 34 likes. Let's get those likes up to over 100. Come on. And subscribe while you're at it as well. Diaz, great to see him back on the pitch. Laporte as well. I mean, defensively, I don't think we were great. Lewis, of course, made a mistake for their goal, getting in a mix-up with Ortega. It's going to happen. They still got behind us a little bit too easily, but not as much as the first half. You could tell the defence was a bit better with Diaz on the pitch. Laporte's an interesting one as well. I thought Laporte worked really hard, like Cancelo. Laporte, another one with so much ability where I do think his future's away from Manchester City now, but he's mint. He's just a great player, you know. He's a great player, and I don't know what they're going to do with him because I do think City want Vardial, and that means Laporte goes. But I don't know. We'll see. Lewis, I thought, he's such a smart footballer, Rico Lewis. He played as a left back, and he's not a left back at all. But you can tell defensively, he made a mistake on that side. But he's such a clever user of the ball. And he's only 18 years old, Rico Lewis, still. But he's a fantastic player, you know. Like, I love Rico Lewis because it's so hard to be as good as he is. At that age, you know, when so many people, so many years older, make so many mistakes, and he just keeps the ball so smartly. Rodri was immense. Of course he was. Scored a world-class goal, 25 yards out, drove through the middle and passed it into the bottom corner. He did. Absolutely excellent. You know, Rodri just... that's Rodri for you. Rodri's the best in the world at what he does. He just is, simple as that. An immense footballer of immense quality. Once again, Rodri scoring a world-class goal. Who is surprised? The midfield was so much better when these three came on the pitch. Rodri, Silva and Foden. Bald Nardo. Absolutely weird seeing that haircut, but, you know, I'm all for it, actually. I think he's going to stay, by the way. I think he's going to stay, and the body language between him and Guardiola was really good. I've got a feeling he's going to stay, you know. I have a feeling he will do, you know. To me, Bernardo Silva is world-class. Like, he absolutely needs to be around, and I think the City's control of the midfield was so much better when Rodri and Silva were on the pitch. Foden as well, by the way, centrally, again, I like it a lot. Foden was involved an awful lot. He got his assist for Haaland. He was linking up nicely with Gomez too. Foden, he still made the wrong decision a couple of times, but Phil Foden as a central midfielder, I want to see it because I love it. Peroni as well, had a really nice little cameo, actually. Really nice 1-2 with Foden at one point when he came on for Bernardo for 15 minutes. He's a nice footballer. And I'd be happy if he wanted to hang around personally. Like, he's just got so much technical ability. Carabao Peroni. That sounds like a mixture of drinks that you don't want to put there, innit? The Carabao Peroni. That'd be a beer gets you going. But I'd be fine. I'd be fine with him hanging around. Someone said, can Ake do what Cancelo did versus Dortmund? No, so be quiet. Can Cancelo defend the way that Ake did to win as a treble? No, so be quiet. There's no point dragging down Ake to pick up Cancelo. Cancelo is an immensely gifted footballer, but City won the treble because of the defence was solid. I love Cancelo. I do. I think he's brilliant. But let's not act like Ake isn't a big part of why City won the treble. Like, I don't get this whole put one guy down to lift another up. There's no point in doing that. Like, because you can toss it both ways. City's back line won us the treble as much as the forward line did. And if I'm being honest, Ake was a massive part of that because he doesn't make mistakes. And if you don't make mistakes, you got a chance to win the treble. So, look at the Fulham game. Look at his defending against Salah, Cancelo was shocking in those games. So, Cancelo, brilliant footballer, but let's not act like he's perfect. And he should immediately be ahead of Ake. I'm fine with Cancelo staying. But Ake was great going forward. He scored some big goals as well. He did, as Sam pointed out. Let's go over to the forward line. Oscar Bob. Really nice cameo from Oscar Bob. Wasn't like a showboating one or anything like that, but he played some really nice little passes and so on. And he's a really smart footballer. He uses it really nicely. He didn't do much of his dribbling, but you could tell that he's just more of he's a very Man City kind of winger. Like, he's got an excellent attitude. He's got great technical ability. And I want to see more of him. I was so glad he got 45 minutes, especially alongside his compatriot Haaland. Of course, he's Norwegian too. But Oscar Bob, there are rumours that he's going to be hanging around a bit at City. And I would love that for this season because Bob is a quality footballer. Haaland, of course, as well. What more do we say about him, man? On the pitch, scored after 7 minutes, got 2 goals. Haaland, 2 already. A tap in, of course, and his first one was not a tap in at all. It was a nice finish into the bottom corner from Phil Foden. Haaland, some really nice link-up play as well, by the way. And I was listening to City's punditry, and David James said you could tell that Haaland is a natural goal scorer because I think he wanted to get a hat-trick. He was disappointed he didn't get his hat-trick. That's Haaland for you. And Sergio Gomez, I like him as a left winger. You could tell he was confident, by the way. Like, he's just come off the back of a very good campaign for Spain under 21s where he's one of the best players at the tournament. You can't be one of the best players for Spain's under 21s and not be a quality player. Like, Gomez is a very good footballer. He's a really smart footballer and he looks so at home in that left wing role. He looks much more comfortable out there. And I do want to see Gomez get a chance as a left winger or at least as a squad option every now and then, because Gomez is a smart player. Overall, I really enjoyed certain cameos. I enjoyed Palmer's little cameo. McAtee was nice to see him playing. Nice to see Kovacic. In the second half, Cancelo had a really good game. Rodri, excellent. It was great to see Peroni and Foden and the forward line in the second half in particular as well. Bob, Haaland, Gomez was really much fun. But guys, I can't wait for the next game. I'll do 5 things we learned tomorrow as well. But for now, though, I'm going to go and wind it down. And I'll catch you all tomorrow for 5 things learned. You're all awesome. Love you loads. City are back. Haaland is back. Foden's back. The rest of them are back. Catch you all tomorrow. In a bit, up the Blues. City won the treble. Bye-bye.